On topics that affect us all. Operation 7570 is one of the longest-running radio programs of its type. It's been on the air since 1967 and brought to you by Apex Bank of Camden. 3 locations in Camden, Big Sandy and Brewston. Today's program after this.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden has built a tradition of local people serving local people. Although there have been changes over the years, this one thing remains the same. Hometown people that are your friends serving you every day to meet your financial needs. We want to see you grow and prosper. And when you ever have a need, you'll get personal attention right here at home, not in some far-off corporate office. Number 1 in customer service. Apex Bank of Camden, Benton County's best bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Operation 7570 on this Saturday morning. A little overcast outside. The sun is trying to peep through. We've had lots of rains, but thank you first of all for bearing with us. Had some delays, some things we had to get situated this morning before we could take the airways live, but we're glad to have you with us, whether you've joined us by WRJBradio.com, 95.9, or by Facebook Live this morning. Great to have you with us, and I hope that your Saturday morning and weekend is off to a great start. Well, as you know, the school year is winding down in all schools in Benton County. Lots of activities have taken place in all our schools. Still some more activities for this coming week. And to talk about some of the things that will be transpiring out at Camden Central High School, reflect back on the year, we have the fine principal of CHS in our studios live today, Sean McDowell. Mr. McDowell, thank you, sir. I appreciate you getting up on this Saturday morning to be with us. It's an honor to have you, my friend.
Thank you, Flash, for the invite, and good morning, everybody.
Great to see you, and let's talk we won't talk about a lot of things, but hey, right off the bat, we're supposed to have softball and baseball today. Softball is going to be out here a little later, baseball over at Stewart. What's the latest? We've had weather delays the last 2 or 3 days, so what's the latest on our ball teams?
So the softball team is going to play here at 12 o'clock. They'll be playing for the chance to be able to host the region tournament. So we're really excited about that. The baseball team is playing in the region, and they'll be playing at Stewart County today at 3 o'clock. But you know, Flash, we've got some other things going on. Our tennis team, the boys team has made it to region, and Ellie has made it. Has made it also, and so it's very likely that they have a chance to move on, and our track team qualified for state. So we've got several sports that are going on and doing some pretty neat things right here at the end of the year, so it makes it a little more busy.
Tennis and cross-country track and field events, that's really coming to the forefront in recent years out at Camden Central with those fine kids.
We've had some outstanding athletes here in that, and that's not something that you'll see all of the time, but with the investment of time in cross-country in the fall, we've had some students that have shown the propensity to do pretty good in track, and they have qualified for state as a team last year with one event, and then we had another event that was taken by Will Douglas, and then Ellie Reynoldson has won 2 state championships and probably going to have a chance to make a run at a third one here. But the boys team also made it to the region tournament. They won the district, and that hasn't happened here. I think it's been more than 11 years. So it really some good times there. We've got for the first time in several years baseball and softball both advancing to region play.
Well, congratulations to all these teams, and we're going to try to bring you the softball game out here against Waverly at 12 noon today. Then hopefully we'll have one game to decide the district championship and move on to regional competition this week. Then we're going to be switching over to Stewart County. Dylan's supposed to be over there today for the baseball broadcast. I think Camden is playing Milan today in that baseball game. And, we wish these teams the very best and congratulate them on their outstanding seasons. Well, Mr. McDowell, overall, has it been a good year at Camden Central High School?
It's been a very good year. We've had a lot of events that really give our students the chance to be able to show their capabilities. We've had a basketball team, the boys basketball team, went into region play, had the chance to host a region tournament for the first time ever that I know of in basketball here at Camden Central. That was a neat event. We've had, but it's not just that. We've also got we've got a esports. They will be competing again today, and the competition they're in right now has advanced far enough that if they win today, they'll be getting scholarship money out of it. So some pretty neat events going on all the way throughout the year.
I think I asked you this a few months ago when esports was coming into being over at Camden Central High School, but what's the definition of esports?
I'm still learning that myself. I've been to a couple of times when they were competing. We have a group of students that work together as a team, and they go and compete with other teams in different types of video games. And it's a fairly new tournament type setting, but as you get far enough along into it, it gets into scholarship money. There are some things at Bethel that offer some scholarships with that, and there's some other major schools that are starting to get involved in that. But there's also a lot of jobs that are going to come from that. When you start using controllers and computers and things like that to drive things, you get into drones. Lots of different ways to be able to use remote control to drive items. I think that's going to be a wave of the future that's going to offer a lot of opportunity for students, for everybody.
And I know a lot of kids now are into this technology with their games and individual things. Their gaming rooms, they compete as individuals, with kids, I guess, from all over the country. And, this technology where you can have gaming rooms set up in a kid or an adult's room, lounge area, whatever you want to call it, then, my goodness, it's gone a long way since I used to do, I guess, Pac-Man back at UT Martin.
Pac-Man, Atari, Nintendo, all of those things just seem like just a figment of our imagination at this point. But it brings up a pretty good story that happened with me with my dad. When I was really young, my dad made a purchase of a computer. When he made the purchase of a computer, he also bought one for me. And he told me, he said, "You don't realize this, but you're going to live in what is the information-based world." And he said, everything you will have will be at the touch of a button or whatever. I don't think he knew exactly what that looked like, but he was just trying to give me a warning that it was coming. And that's really the challenge we have nowadays with our education is what are we doing to make sure that our students have the chance to be successful in what is the information-based world.
Did this information-based world, the technology, the things using computers, did that really, of course, we were using it within the last several years, we know that, but did we really see how we needed it during the pandemic? Did that really, cause an increase in the way we were using technology, that Zoom, things like that then?
We knew for a long time that there was things that were coming, but the pandemic just ran into how are we going to communicate if we can't see each other face to face. So now you see in every classroom that the classroom has a physical four walls. It has a space, but it also has an electronic space. And I think it's important that we treat it that way because our students, if they go and apply for a job at Walmart, they're going to have an email address. They're going to have their pay probably electronically paid. They're going to do continuing education online. So the electronic component, the electronic components that are a part of our classroom are really necessary to train our students how to be successful when they leave the school.
How important is it right now, and I know kids are learning this out at Camden Central and in the grades below high school, how important is it to teach these kids, of course, technology, the computers, the smartphones, they can be great tools, help you with learning and education, but how important is it for these kids to know, be careful what you post out there?
Oh my goodness. Well, that is the positives that come from being able to have an information-based society comes with all of its challenges also. And we have a new term that's really starting to be a hot topic for high school age students, and that's branding. You see it some at the college level now that through NIL, you see different athletes that are able to be paid for their notoriety in sports, but also being recognized as a means of promoting something like a car dealership or something along those lines. It's called NIL. The reality of it is that has now hit the high schools. There are guidelines with the TSSAA about what NIL is possible and not possible at the high school level. So anything that you say or put out there is a reflection of you. You have your own electronic personality when you get onto social media, and you want to make sure that it's something that it's not something that hurts you. There's been a lot of electronic bullying. There's been a lot of things that go on, but I can promise you people are paying attention, and you don't want to get the reputations that can hurt you when you go to look for work, or whether people want you to be associated with something that they do, or anything like that, because it's really a part of the way people get to know you now.
Yeah, and the kid may put something up there and realize, oh, I've made a terrible mistake. I want to delete it, but hey, once that's deleted, somebody has probably already screenshotted it or screen recorded it out there.
We get to deal with that quite a lot, and the one thing that happens out of that is you don't realize how much influence you have until you do something that gets a lot of attention. And we are all learning to cope with that, but we also have punishments that come when people are doing something to be negative, or to bully, or to threaten, or to do anything. So we have to take the role of educator and teaching and making it where students know what they should and shouldn't do. But at the same time, there's punishments that come along with that if you continue to do those things. And that's really hard because people don't know exactly how to deal with it. We get a lot of practice at it because our students are immersed in their cell phones. But that's part of the education that we have to be able to provide in these days.
Well, Mr. McDowell, what is your background? I've asked you this before, but what is your background, and how did that background lead you to being here with us in Camden, Tennessee for the past few years?
So I decided that I wanted to get into teaching and coaching back years ago. I actually didn't play high school athletics. I was a student athletic trainer. Decided to get into coaching because I'd been around coaching basically since I was born. My daddy was an athlete, and I'd been around it forever. I grew to enjoy it, and I decided I wanted to get into it after I'd gotten out of high school. And so I went to Roane State Community College, worked as a student trainer there, and took some education classes, then went to MTSU, worked as a student trainer there with several very successful athletics programs, basketball, baseball, football there. Even did some work with volleyball and track there as a student athletic trainer, so I got to be around a lot of really incredible coaches. And then when I graduated from MTSU, I had a degree in geography, with a minor in secondary education, a minor in psychology. Went looking for work. At that time in the early 90s, there was a shortage of teacher positions. So I ended up going to get my master's at Carson Newman and worked as a graduate assistant there. I was a graduate assistant baseball coach there, and I also worked as a graduate assistant athletic trainer there. It helped to pay for my schooling. Had some real success there, but there was a job opening. Interesting story, I actually put an application up on the bulletin board at the Tennessee Athletic Coaches Association meeting, and that's how I met Ron Espy, and he invited me to come down and interview with Bill Key, and I came down the next day. He offered a job to me, and I took the job and moved to Camden. So a long way around to find Camden, but I'd actually had a few ties with Camden before and didn't know it. When we were doing Babe Ruth baseball, helping to coach Babe Ruth baseball, I had a friend of mine that came to a Babe Ruth baseball state tournament here in Benton County back years and years ago. So when I heard of the place, I knew that they loved baseball and they loved sports, and it wasn't hard for me to be able to fall in love with Camden. And
now you are at the point in your career where these kids, some of the kids you've taught and coached out at Camden Central, you're at the point in your career now where they're having kids of their own that's coming through the system.
I have one that had reservations about whether she wanted to be able to walk the line the other day, and I told her, I said, your daddy played ball for me, and I want you to walk the line because it means a lot to me. And she said, well, okay, and that that actually did happen the other day. So I'm getting a lot of those stories. I've even telling some age problems here. I've had a grandchild that's been in school. I've been doing this a little while, Flash.
Okay. And now we know your coaching background, of course, but what in the classroom, when you were in the classroom, what were some of the class courses that you taught in the classrooms?
Social studies classes. I taught some history, taught some econ. It ended up being more geography than anything, which was my major and what I really enjoyed. But those were the classes that I taught. And back then, did not have computers in the classroom when I first started teaching. I can remember getting a computer when I was teaching in East Tennessee for a period of time. I got my first teacher computer, and then we came back to Camden, and there was a teacher computer and 3 student computers in each classroom. And now we've got electronic classrooms where we have one-to-one access to computers in the classroom. So it's been a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah, it just still blows my mind when I get to go into the classroom in any of the schools and now just look and see the ways the teachers are instructing up front. And things of the old blackboard and chalk, that's pretty well the thing of the past, isn't it?
When I took my technology class in college at MTSU, they were teaching us how to properly use the white marker boards because they were new technology at that time. So it's a lot different now. The boards that we have with the big screens and all of that just makes it where learning is right at our fingertips, and it becomes more important to teach our students how to learn than it is the subject matter itself. The subject matter is the subject we're talking about, but teaching our students how to learn and how to be successful is the part that we want to make sure they get out of each lesson. Mr.
McDowell, how many students are there approximately out at Camden Central High School?
About 550. Our junior and senior class are smaller classes. I think part of that might be from the pandemic, but our sophomore and freshman classes are larger classes. I expect our numbers to probably go up a little bit in the next couple of years.
And how many teachers do you have out there, maybe faculty, and maybe even support personnel?
When you start to look at it, we have about 35 teachers, and then from there you have another 15 or 20 support personnel. When you start to look at cafeteria workers, office workers, and then teacher aides and so forth and so on, we're at about 50, 55.
And I know right next door we have the Frank P. Lashley Career and Technical Center. What is the relationship of Camden Central High School and the FPL Center?
Well, that's an interesting subject because that's actually under a change at this point. For years, there's been a principal at the Career and Technical Center and a principal at CHS. Dr. Shannon's been that principal for a number of years, and he also serves as the director for Career and Technical Centers. And so this next year, actually, he is going to be at the central office, and there will be one principal there. That the whole campus will be Camden Central High instead of 2 different schools. That really does some things to help offer some opportunities for us, and we're excited about the change, but we're also excited about the things that we'll have the chance to be able to do.
Well, that will be most interesting. I wasn't aware of that, but that's going to be interesting. But Dr.
That's a very new subject.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been announced until it was announced to me a couple of days ago. So.
I understand, and we'll be hearing more and more about that as time goes along. But what we need to do right now is take a break. We're about midway through our program. So our good friends, a good sponsor of educational programs at CHS and throughout all the schools, Apex Bank, they do an outstanding job, as you know, throughout the community. And what we'll do right now is hear a message from our friends at Apex. Be back with the second portion of Operation 7570. Stay with us.
Apex Bank of Camden, proudly serving the Benton County community since 1931. In recent years, through growth and expansion, we've taken that same local community spirit into other markets. Today, with over 20,000 customers across Tennessee, our business philosophy remains the same. Local people making local decisions, serving our friends and customers, and investing in the communities that we serve. Here for you yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Apex Bank of Camden, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Welcome back to Operation 7570 this morning. Our guest in the studio is Sean McDowell, principal out at Camden Central High School. And we say it each and every year, Mr. McDowell, but I tend to agree more and more now as I get older. These years just fly by now, don't they?
They absolutely do. You know, I still remember the first couple of interviews that I got the chance to be with you with back in 1993, in the fall of 93. Of course, we had Coach Nunemaker that was there with us, and the fun times that we had with those, he would take any event and turn it into just a real entertainment spot. And I can't believe that it's gone this quickly. It's really amazing to me.
No question about that. And before we move on with other topics, well, this is a fine topic. I want to give a shout out to you and your faculty members, the coaching staff out there, the other student council, Beta Club, and the kids that were out there yesterday, track and field events, and Debbie Watson and yourself and Coach McDowell and everybody that helped in, the kids. Wow, what a great event that is each and every year.
It is just a heartwarming event. You see our track and field event where we have SPED students that get the chance to be able to participate and compete and show out in front of others. Our football team and other students work together. Coach McConnell helps Debbie Watson help put on the competition itself. Miss Debbie Watson's been doing this. I'm trying to think of the number of years, and that number eludes me a little bit, but it's, I think, 23, 24 years that's been going on. The Elks Lodge, they come up and help with cooking the food for everybody that's there. The sponsors that help with paying for T-shirts and help with other things that give the kids a chance to be able to see each other. The students that were there that helped to support these kids as they were competing and giving them applause. We had parents and people from the community that were able to be there and be a part of that. In fact, it wasn't just CHS. There were some other students from different schools that were there. It's just a fun time. It is, to me, just... this is a fun week, but man, it's a busy week. We had senior signing day earlier this week, where we recognized the seniors and where they're planning on going to college. Just prior to that, we had our academic awards banquet, and then we have track and field day. It was also the last day of school for the seniors, so there's excitement in the space even without having to generate it. It's just a good time to be a little reminiscent and also enjoy each other and be able to root on these fine young folks that are competing in the track and field days.
We want to talk about graduation with these seniors coming up next Friday. So give our public that's watching us today, listening to us on the radio, Mr. McDowell, give us some information we need to know about graduation, the times, and the location, things like that.
So it's really close to the way we've done it for years. We're having the last few years we've had different types of scenarios for our graduation. This year there is no limit. We will have it there on the football field. The graduates will be on the football field. We will have the stage sitting on the west side of the stadium, and so people can sit on the visitor side or the home side. And we'll have graduation ceremonies there at 7:30 there at Wright Field and Tommy Richardson Stadium. We're excited to have graduation out there on what is a renovated site. Our football field has been placed with turf on it, and so we're excited to have that event and just looking forward to celebrating a milestone for our seniors.
Yeah, and that turf, I mean, that's very nice to walk upon. I've been on there a couple of times, of course, and we were sorry we couldn't have the track and field events down there yesterday, but, it's just one of those things. You can't fight Mother Nature.
The field actually drains well enough. We could have been out there if it had stopped raining.
Yes, yeah.
It was more about whether the fans would have dry seats to sit in and so forth and so on. We did want to have it out there, and we'll be able to have events out there. In fact, there's going to be a scrimmage there this next Thursday. Not sure the time on that yet for our spring practice with football. And so they'll have an event, and then on Friday we'll have graduation there. But that turf has taken that facility and making it's made it where it's much more usable. For years, we had to be careful about the amount of traffic we were on that field with whether the grass could take the beating or not. Now we can use it 6 class periods a day. We can use it for events. We can use it for minor league practice, minor league games. The minor league soccer can have use of it. It's just going to be something that makes our community have an outdoor facility that is very usable for years to come.
And the logo in the center of the field, that looks outstanding. That's outstanding. And new scoreboard being put in place.
We did, the scoreboard that we had last year was on the blink at the last ball game. We knew that the technology on it was something that needed to be replaced. And so as we looked at that, we worked with the quarterback club to put together a new scoreboard out there that will make it where events are easier to have. It has a scoreboard component to it. It also has a video board component to it. And so we're trying to make it where that space is usable and easy to do. And that's something that we've done. The logo, I'm really, really proud of what the field looks like, and it does do a great job of branding what your school is doing. So that logo can be seen from outer space as far as that goes on Google Maps and so forth. Really a pretty neat thing. I've had a few people that have already sent me aerial photos that they've taken when they were flying by or whatever, and it's just neat.
Yeah. Well, back to graduation, how many seniors are graduating this coming Friday night?
We got 105 that will be walking the line on Friday night, and so we're looking forward to having them along with all their parents and all their guests there for the night.
How does that class compare, with the previous years of graduates?
As I was telling you, our numbers are smaller with our junior and senior class. When you start to look at it, if you had 550 students, you would be sitting at about 125 per class. Well, this class is 105. The junior class is a little small, but the sophomore and junior classes are closer to 150 at this point. So we're thinking that that they'll be bigger. But this year's class is a little smaller than it has been. Again, I think a large part of that has to do with people that have the pandemic just sort of got people where they were afraid to be around.
Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, graduation at 7:30, and our friends at Big Sandy, their graduation, same night they graduate down there. Mr. McDowell, I think they graduate at 6.
6 o'clock
Yes.
for them, 7:30. We have a very unique thing. Our school board members try to make it to both graduations, and our director of schools is the one that hands out the diplomas. You don't see that in many school districts throughout this state, and that's a very neat thing that we have. They're actually getting their diploma handed from the director. That's a tradition I love, and I hope that we keep.
Well, the seniors are out of school. Yesterday was their final day of class, but they'll be busy this coming week. They've got some things taken care of with practices, and I think senior breakfast, things like that.
So there's a few events that are going on for our seniors. I think they have, on Tuesday, they have graduation practice. They also have the senior walk, where they'll walk through the elementary school, Briarwood, and the junior high after they get done with their graduation practice. We will have a breakfast for them there prior to the graduation practice. But I think they also have a parent seniors breakfast on Friday morning. So I'm not sure the details of it, but they do have that planned. I think there's a baccalaureate service on Wednesday, and I think it's at the First Baptist Church. And of course, we've got graduation taking place there on Friday night there at CHS.
Yeah. Of course, we wish this senior class the very best, of course, and as they leave and this junior class next year become seniors, we're going to have some 8th graders coming over to the high school from Camden Junior High and up at Holiday as well. We've got those kids coming up. Do you and the faculty and staff out at CHS, do you have like orientation for these incoming freshmen, the current 8th graders, maybe their parents at some point?
So we do try to find ways to make sure that they have questions answered and they have a chance to be able to see what the school is about and so forth and so on. We had an 8th grade orientation night that occurred in March, where parents and students were allowed to come. It was a talking session where we told them a little bit about what to expect. We told them a little bit about what the class requirements were, and they were able to talk and spend some time with our school counselors about things to expect there. Then we also have had 4-H was a large part of doing a tour for students from Holiday. The other day they came and saw our building and ate breakfast or ate lunch there and did a tour of the building. And then we have in the summertime in July, we have a date, and I don't know that date directly in front of me, that is where the incoming freshmen will come. They'll get their schedules. They'll have people that will take them around and show them the building, show them where the rooms are, answer questions, and those are students that'll help them to do that. And so we try to make sure that we've given them 2 or 3 opportunities to see what the school is about. The other thing is these students, they get the chance to have people helping show them where they're at even on that first day. So we do a lot to try to help them feel at home.
Yeah, we talk about the seniors making a transition after next Friday night to the next level of their adulthood, whether it be college or go out to work in the real world or whatever they're doing. But hey, these 8th graders, they have a heck of a transition coming up as well, making the transition to high school.
You know, it doesn't seem like it as big a deal as it might for the seniors, but it really is. You go through elementary school, you go through junior high, and you're taking classes. But as you move into high school, each class counts for a credit. You have to pass that class in order to get credit for it, and there's classes that are required in order for you to be able to graduate. So even as a freshman, when you walk in there, you don't just get moved from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior. You have to pass the classes that you're taking. So the classes begin to take on more relevance. The subjects that they get to take, other than the required subjects, are things that should have sparked their interest in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And the classes that they take and the credits that they get are all put on their permanent record, and they're used as data points to decide where they're going to go to school, afterward, whether it's to a technical school, whether it's going to go into the military, whether it's going to go on to a college. So things become more important as they get to high school. And then on top of that, you have the invention of the car, and so there's permits and driver's licenses and being able to get out and become that responsible adult. When you graduate high school, you're that adult, and so it becomes your choice where you want to go to school or where you want to be or what you want to do. And so it's a little different than coming from the 8th grade on. But as you make that transition from the 8th grade, you have to start to think 4 years in advance, and that's hard for someone that's young. They have to start to say, well, what do I have interest in? What am I good at? What talents do I have? Where are my challenges? What do I need to focus on? Those are all things that start to take real relevance for them at the high school level.
Many retirees making the transition from a career into retirement now, and other personnel changes anticipated over the summer before the next school year starts in August, Mr. McDowell?
There is the potential for still more to retire. We did have 2 that we recognized at the high school this year. We have Miss Phyllis Page. She's been one of our nighttime custodians. She is planning on stepping down at the end of this school year, and so we'll be looking for someone to replace her. And then Miss Dawn Peach, she is stepping down from teaching. They may have found a way to get her into Benton County Academy, maybe on a smaller contract. But we've got
Go ahead.
We've got that in place, and then you don't ever know over the course of the summer what's going to happen from there. So we're just trying to see where it lands.
Well, let me ask you this. Of course, it's not unusual to have personnel changes, classrooms, and some come up at the end of the school year. Some you already know about and know that. But When there is a vacancy, at your school, maybe any school, a classroom or, someone like that, how do you go about finding a replacement? What criteria maybe you and Mr. Florence use to, get a good replacement?
First thing is, when we have someone that's leaving, we try to make sure that it's official. So we have to get a letter from them, and then once we do that, then there's going to be a posting that talks about what we're looking for to fill that position. And if it's certified personnel, then we try to give them the requirements that we have for certified personnel. If there are descriptions with the job that are there, and then you have some jobs that involve like a promotion, like moving to assistant principal or to a principal's job. Those have requirements with them, and those descriptions are in the postings when they're there. From there, you go through a process of interviewing and deciding where the best fit is, and then from there you go through orienting them to the job that they're taking. Everything from getting their taxes lined up to be taken, to their paychecks, to what they need to know about the jobs that they're taking. Lots of training that goes on. I can remember the horror stories that people would tell when we were in college that said, you're going to walk in as a teacher, they're going to hand you a job, they're going to hand you the roster, and you're going to deal with it. Well, you can't operate that way now and do it well, and we don't try to do that. We try to give mentors, we try to make sure that they have some training on what's going on, and we do a better job at that, and I think it's required now.
Maintenance. I'm sure there'll be some maintenance projects going on throughout the summer months then. A little fix-up, tidy type work, maybe some major projects?
Every year we look at, we take the entire school and move the furniture out of the classrooms. We strip down the wax in those classrooms, and we have those floors redone, move all of the furniture in, and then redo the hallways. There's other surfaces that need to be cleaned or redone, and we have those redone. Then from there, you have other projects that are going on that are needing to get done. I think there's the potential that we're going to have the asphalt out in the parking lots at least resealed. I know that we'll have the floors redone. It looks like there was a complication with the way the gym floor was done at CHS. I think they're looking at resealing it and having to do some particular work on it. And so we'll be busy day one. In fact, we'll be moving furniture out as we get to these last days of school so we can get started on the floors as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And the next school year will be here before you know it.
It seems to go faster and faster every year.
Well, Mr. McDowell, as we close this morning, I appreciate you taking time from your Saturday morning. I know it's going to be busy for you, keeping up with the ball teams and doing other things today. But as we close our program, do you have a word of advice for this graduating class from Camden Central and Big Sandy as well?
I do. I just want to tell the graduates, while they're going through this time of celebration, to go slow. Take time to enjoy time with their friends and their family. When they're driving from one place to the other, please drive slow. It's always at this time of year where we worry about some sort of car accident or whatever, and we've had too many of those already with our youth in this community. So just drive slow and make the most of this time, because those times don't come back, and they should be good, fond memories. So make sure that you just go slow and work hard from there. You know, we have three expectations that we're looking for when we talk to our students. We want them to tell the truth, do what they're asked to do, and work as hard as they can. Maybe use those same things to take off in their next chapter of their life.
Well, thank you for being here in our studios today. I'm sure we'll probably see you at the ballpark a little bit later on. And thank you, sir, for giving up some of your Saturday morning. Thanks to you and everybody at Camden Central High School for the job that you do. Thanks to everybody in our entire Benton County school system. I think these past few days it's been Teacher Appreciation Week, and we certainly appreciate all of our Benton County school teachers and those in the surrounding area. And the challenges they have today is like we've never seen before, Mr. McDowell.
It's a fast-moving world is all I can say. Thank you so much for the invite, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Have a great day. Sean McDowell, principal at Camden Central High School, our guest this morning on Operation 7570. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden